เปิดตำนานหลวงพ่อพิณะปิยัตถโรหลวงพ่อพิณะ opening the ตำนาน the legend of his life and of his famous Dao Aathan Hnun Duang, his famous lucky star amulet, beginning with a basic biography of Luang Pina Biataro. Luang Pina Biataro was born on วันที่ 1 มีนาคม which is the 1st of March in the year 2456 BE, Buddhist era, was born in the small municipality of Ban Hua Lampong in Uthai Thani in Thap Than area. And when he was a young boy, he suffered from something similar to epilepsy, but not epilepsy, which would occur every time he would break out in tears or cry. He would start to shudder, something like epileptic shudder, and choke until his face went green. And so after this happened many times, in desperation his mother took him to try to be healed and took him to see Luang Por Sin in Uthai, and Luang Por Sin said that his name was the wrong name and not auspicious and was bringing him bad luck, so they should change his name to Pina, which actually means to turn forward and turn backwards. It means look ahead and look behind. Or better said, to look in both directions simultaneously. And so the meaning of this name really means to change direction and to make his illness and himself look in opposite directions and stop encountering each other, so for the illness to walk away from him. So they changed his name to Pina. After changing his name and receiving a blessing from Luang Por Sin, the illness ceased to occur, and Luang Por Pina then lived a normal life until one day his father passed away. And so, as is traditional for children when their parents pass away in Thai Buddhism, he ordained as a samanera. Samanera is when a child is not yet come of age. He is first ordained as a samanera, which is a novice monk. But during his time as a novice monk, during the funeral period of his father, when the corpse would be laid out in the temple, after 9 days he came of age, and so he underwent a second ceremony and was ordained as a fully fledged prabhiksu, a bhikkhu in the Buddha Sasana, as a fully fledged monk in the year 2481. And this ceremony of ordination was performed at Wat Nong Tao with Prakru Udom Kunaporn Bhikkhu, who was the bishop of Thap Than municipality, as his upachaya ordaining officer, and Prat Maha Amnoi, who was his Pratgammawajan. Wajajan. Pratgammawajajan means the monk who helps you to remember your memorized chanting of the Pali ordination ceremony, which is performed completely in Pali language, not in Thai, and must be memorized in ordination. You're not allowed to use a book. And so just in case you forget some of your memorized lines, there will be one monk at the side of the upachaya ordaining you to help you along and give you cues to which line comes next if you forget. His Pratkammawajajan was Prat Maha Amnuay. Now, during this time that he was then ordained further as a full bhikkhu, and during the 100 days of respect to the corpse after the before and after the funeral, before he was buried, the corpse is laid out in the temple, and Luang Pina reached about 20 days, and he had to ask the abbot to disrobe, because he was extremely afraid of the corpse in the temple. And so he was only 11 days as a bhikkhu, plus 9 days before that as a samanera, before he disrobed. After that he continued in life as a lay person until his mother then passed away, and so he ordained again as a bhikkhu and had to perform the funeral ceremony on his mother and send her to heaven. And this ceremony involves the wrapping of corpse cords, and so he got very close contact not just with a corpse but with his own mother's corpse, who died actually of an abscess in her stomach. And during the autopsy, Luang Pina actually got to view this cutting open of the stomach, and he was unable to eat for 3 days after seeing this and could not sleep. So he was very disturbed by this experience, and he asked the abbot of his temple if he could go and stay somewhere else for 5 days, and when he came back he would then disrobe again and re-enter the lay person's life. And the abbot Lumpakam asked him and other bhikkhus, one other bhikkhu who was afraid of ghosts and corpses, he taught them that sankhan, so the physical body, be it alive or dead, and the corpse of other people is nothing different to that of our own, and that we will also become corpses one day, and that they should contemplate this and see themselves as eventually one day being a corpse, and see if they are disgusted and afraid as they are when they see the corpse of other beings. And he taught them, why should you be afraid or disgusted by this, because it is no different to yourselves. Luang Pina then decided to stay on for a while and continue to learn Dhamma with Luang Kam at Wat Got Tepo temple, and he stayed a whole month, and in this period he managed to overcome his fear of corpses and ghosts, and he then decided he wished to remain ordained as a Buddhist monk throughout his life. Then during some time afterwards, Luang Pina decided to go and find a great master he had heard of and asked to become an apprentice at the temple of Wat Tam Tago, but when he arrived there he found he was too late and that this master had already passed away. But he remained perseverant with the idea of practicing Vipassana Kamatan, and he stayed on at Wat Tam Tago for 2 years, between the year 2482 BE and 2484 BE, after which he then travelled on to Duang, wandering through the forests, and eventually to present himself as an apprentice of and with the great Luang Puritato of great famous Vipassana fame, who is one of the greatest Vipassana Gamathan forest monk lineage masters of all Thai Buddhist history, and declared an Arahant. And he practiced with Luang Pu Man in Obrom Bong Nisai, which means to silence the disturbances within his personality and his moods, and Rangap Arum, to learn to control and weaken the disturbing moods within the heart, and to silence all of such disturbances, and to practice solitude and living in solitary in the Tudong tradition in the forest. And he began to travel through the jungles and forests on his own as a wandering Tudong forest monk. After a long time traveling, he then arrived in the small Tambon village area of Ban Sanom Lao, and this was a very old area which had a temple and was built first in the times of the Ayutthaya kingdom, when the city of Ayutthaya was the capital city of Siam, which was a very long time ago, sometime in the years between 1893 Buddhist era and 2310 Buddhist era. And this was where, of course, Luang Por Pina became a great and famous Guru Master at Wat Sanom Lao in Tambon Ban Sanom Lao, and where he made his great trajectory and practice until his old age, where he finally became sick and old in the year 2545 BE. And before he died, he actually wrote a small booklet leaving instructions for when he had died, which had roughly the following message: "When I have passed away, please follow these instructions, namely, forbidden to inject preservatives and mummify my body, and you must keep my body in the sitting position of meditation, and place my body in the Sutsam Pina, in the mausoleum which I have built in the cemetery. There must be no funeral chanting, and you should not tell everybody. There should be no great ceremony. Just keep it quiet. It is forbidden to burn my body, and you should just place my body as it is in sitting meditation position in my mausoleum in the cemetery." They found him to have passed away on the year 2545, and were very surprised that he had died also sitting in the meditating posture, and that they found him 12 hours after he had died, but that his body, the body of a corpse that has been dead for 12 hours, should be rigid, stiff as a board, but that the body of Luang Por Pina Beataro, who had died at the age of 89 years old as abbot of Wat Sanom Lao, was completely soft and bendable, and his skin and muscles could be squeezed and felt warm, just like that of a living person. This was considered as a miracle by his devotees, who followed his instructions and placed him as desired in the mausoleum, in the cemetery, in the meditating posture. Luang Pina was very famous for the making of various amulets in his tamra, but perhaps the most famous amulet of all is the Aathan Hnun Duang Mahalap, the five-pointed star, which is embedded or embossed on an egg-shaped sacred powder amulet with gemstones inserted. This star is indeed, although it looks like a military star, not just any kind of star, because Luang Pina, when he used to give these amulets to his devotees, he would teach the Dharma by explaining the meaning of the symbolism within the Duang star, which has a lot of Buddha Dharma contained within its symbolism in the numerology of the five-pointed star. The star has, of course, 5 points to it, or 8 points. You will see there are 2 major kinds of star, one with 5 points and one with 8 points. And so the 5-pointed star or pentacle, which looks like the soldier's star, which you will see on the shoulders of the uniforms of soldiers, he would call Benja or Banja, which means 5, and would represent the following. 1. Dadu, eyes and vision. Song. 2. Hu Fang, ears and sound or hearing. 3. Jamuk, dom glin, nose and smell. 4. Lin Dai Rod, the tongue receives the sensation of taste. And 5. Kai Dai Sampat, the body or the skin feels the touch. He would teach that these are the 5 senses of nature, and that consciousness becomes aware of itself and of the world around it through these 5 areas of perception, and that these 5 areas of perception are connected to another 5 things, which the star, the 5-pointed star, also represents, namely the 5 khandas or skandhas, which are 1. Rupa, forms. 2. Vedana, which means emotions or feelings. 3. Sanya, which means perception. 4. Sankhan, which means conditioned things, the conditioning of things, and also means the body. And 5. Vinyan, which means consciousness or awareness. The 5 points of the star also represent the Katha, พระพุทธเจ้า5 พระองค์ the 5 Dhyani Buddha Katha, which also represents the 5 elements. Na mo Puttaya, Na meaning water element. Mo, which means the earth element. Put, which means the fire element. Ta, which means the air element. And Ya, which means the element of space. Namo Puttaya. Na, the water element, has 12 forces within it. Mo, the earth element, has 21 forces within it. Put, the fire element, has 6 forces within it. Ta, the air element, has 7 forces within it. And Ya, the space element, has 10 forces within it. All of these forces, when added together, adds up to 56, which is, of course, the 56 qualities of the Buddha, the Enlightened One. Then, of course, the 5-syllable kata within the 5 points of the star, also on a parallel, then represent Namo Buddhaya. Na is the first of the 5 Buddhas of the Kakusanta Buddha, Prakakusanto. Mo is the second Buddha, Prakonakom, the Gonakama Buddha. Put is the third Buddha, Praputakatsapa, the Kassapa Buddha. Ta is the fourth Buddha, Prasamanakotama is the Kotama Buddha, the Sakyamuni Buddha. And Ya is the fifth and future Buddha, Pra-Aryasi Maitrayo, Maitreya Buddha. This is known as the Metap, which means the guardian, and the Mother Force, which is the guardian. These are also 5, one for each point of the star. And these 5 Mother Forces are 1. Me Prat Po Sop, or Prat Me Po Sop, the Harvest Mother. The second one is Me Prat Tarani, the Dharani, the Earth Mother. The third Mother Force is Me Prat Kungka, the Kanka, the Ganga, or the River Water Mother. And the fourth is Me Prat Plung, the Fire Mother of Flame. And the fifth is Me Prat Pai, the Wind and the Storm Mother. In both of the star amulets there will be a small hollow dent, often also with a gem inserted, which is known as the gate, which means the crown or the top knot of the Buddha. And it represents the Buddha in the center of the universe, who stands between the 8 directions and with all the arahants around him in the 8 directions, and that you can puja and pray to the gate in the middle of the star, the dent or the gem in the middle of the star, and will increase your power, influence and personal status, and will improve your karma and protect you with Cleoclat, Plot Pai, and banish all evil and unlucky misfortunes from your life. And this is especially recommended for people who do not know the month or the year or the time of their birth exactly, and cannot use astrological magic for those reasons, can puja the pragate in the middle of the star as a manifestation of the Buddha. And you can do this by lighting incense to it. If you have a Buddha image in the Maravichai stance with the Buddha with the right hand on the lap pointing to the earth, which is the traditional Buddha posture of conquering the Mara and calling Mother Earth as his witness, which you will see as the main Buddha in all Uposatha chapels of all Buddhist temples. If not, you can just imagine the Buddha in this particular posture when praying to the gem or the dent in the center of the star amulet. And when you pray, you should use the following kata: Putto Jamachimo Setito, and chant that 9 times. Putto Jamachimo Setito will provide you with แคล้วคลาดปลอดภัย ปัน and กันเสนียดจันไร will banish all evil and protect you and evade all dangers. There is a second kata you can additionally chant, which is very positive and brings very powerful results, which is called the Pakata Nawahorakun, and can also be chanted 9 times. It goes like this: Arahang Sukhato Bhagawa. One more time. Arahang Sukhato Bhagawa. The 8-pointed star of Luang Pina also has many meanings. This star is, instead of being like the soldier's star, it is like the policeman's star, which has 8 points, and means the arahant enlightened beings in all 8 directions around you, protecting you. The first point of the 8 stars means the Gontanya Arahant, which is in the east direction, and you should pray to reverence to the moon before praying to this point of the star and to the Gontanya Buddha, and this will bring Metta Mahaniyam into your life and success above all others. The second point represents the Gatsapa Buddha Arahant and points to the southeast, and praying to this Arahant will bring you superiority and promotion and high status in professional and social life, and great respect in the eyes of others. The third point represents the Sariputra Arahant Buddha and points towards the south, and this increases Panya, intelligence and wisdom. It will bring sweet speech that is convincing and pleasing to others, increase your intelligence, and if you hold grains of sand in your hand when praying to this Sariputra Arahant, then your Panya, your wisdom and intelligence will increase. You will be able to do great mathematics and perform tasks for which you need to have great focus for. The fourth point of the star represents Praubali, the Upali Arahant Buddha, and points towards the southwest. And Praubali was a great Arahant who was very proficient in the Vinaya of law and behavior, and so this praying to this Arahant and this magic within this point of the star will help you to make your children behave well and to not be naughty if you have children, or if you are a teacher or are a superior, then those under you will behave well and not be naughty and not misbehave. The fifth point of the star represents Ananda Arahant Buddha and points towards the west. Ananda was the secretary and the companion and assistant of the Buddha himself, and who took care of all administrative duties. And even when the Buddha would go and teach Dhamma somewhere else, if Ananda was not present, the Buddha would have to go to Ananda and recount that Dhamma he had taught, so that Ananda could record it and hear it. If you pray to Ananda Arahant, and this point of the star will bring you, if you have children and you wish your children to be clever and very knowledgeable and do well in their studies, to achieve great things with great general knowledge, then this point of the star will bring this blessing to them. The 6th point of the 8-pointed star of Luang Pina points towards the northwest and represents Prat Pakavampati, which many people know as Prapita or Prat Sankajayana Buddha, who brings great choklab, very lucky fortunes, wealth and luck. And also this point of the star points towards Nopakro, meaning the Pratrahu Asura Deva, the eclipse god eating the moon, or the sun and the moon, the solar and lunar eclipse god, who is the god of fortune in astrology, and who all of the heavens fear, who wishes their children and grandchildren and descendants to have great luck, and themselves, of course, should then not only use this point of the star to Pusha Prat Pakavampati Sankajayana Pitta Buddha, but should also perform Pusha to Pratrahu Asura Deva, who will then protect you and your children and grandchildren from danger and turn the line of fate into an auspicious, lucky, prosperous fortune, and keep all bad luck and bad karma away. The 7th point of the star represents Mokkhalana Arahant and points towards the north directly. Mokkhalana was the Arahant who was the most advanced in Rit or Rissa, Patihan, Patihari, which means psychic and magical power and miraculous abilities to perform miracles. And in astrology, this point points toward Prasuk. Prasuk is the Deva who will bring you prosperity and business success, and you can make very successful sales, and if you use your speech for your selling prowess to have successful business, then your speech will bring in lots of successful deals. And Prasuk will also bring much happiness into your family. Prasuk, also in astrology, represents the planet Venus. And the 8th point of Luang Pina's famous star amulet represents Prat Rahun or Rahula Arahant, who was the son of the Buddha, and points towards the northeast. This brings success in studies and results in learning and in achievements in the academic line of life, and is aligned in astrology with the sun. Pusha to this and paying reverence to this point of the star will bring also great wisdom and fast-wittedness, not slow thinking but fast thinking, and very powerful focus above others, as well as great personal power and status that will be ever on the rise in the profession, and even fame. The 8 points of the star on the next level also mean the Arya Dhamma, the 8 formulas of the Arya Dhamma, which is the eightfold path, which is supreme, which is, of course, 1. Samma Ditti, right view. 2. Samma Sankappa, right intention. 3. Samma Vaca, right speech. 4. Samma Kammanta, right action. 5. Samma Achiva, right livelihood or right profession. 6. Samma Vayama, right effort. 7. Samma Sati, right concentration. And 8. Samma Samadhi, right mindfulness. To practice this and to contemplate on the meaning of this will bring in itself great blessings and will be reduced and congealed into a threefold blessing, which is the highest of all blessings, bringing that which is the result of the eightfold path, namely enlightenment. And these 3 things are Sila, which means morality or virtue, Samadhi, which means concentration and jhana absorption, and the 3rd will be Panya, which means true spiritual wisdom and discretion. This is, of course, the properly realized practice of the Dhamma as taught by the Buddha. Lastly, the 8 points of the star, of the 8-pointed version of Luang Pina's famous star amulet, represent also the Lokatham 8, which means the 8 worldly dharmas, which are 8 worldly things which accompany life as a living being, especially as a human, in life, in society, and in the world of humans, and is a worldly truth for all people, and everybody experiences all 8 of them, and cannot be avoided. But even if you like them or don't like them, they are not to be avoided. And the only thing which differentiates them is some people experience a lot of the 8 worldly dharmas, and some people get to experience only a little bit of them in larger or lesser quantities, or slower or faster, how they encounter them. And these worldly dhammas are split into 8, just like the 8 points of the star of Luang Pina. And they are split into 2 types or categories, which are placed together in parallel and have the following meaning. The first category are the 4 to each category. The first 4 belong to the category of worldly dhammas which humans are pleased with. The first being Chok Lap, which means we benefit from the luck of wealth and treasures and the easy life which comes with those wealth and treasures, and a comfortable home or garden, or we own a farm and we have that kind of home and wealth as a standard of living. is the first auspicious worldly Dhamma of the 8. The second, also auspicious worldly Dhamma, is Yod or Yasa, which means position or status. That some people have higher or lower status in society and in the profession, or which also is accompanied by power to command and to be respected and looked up to and be revered or honored and listened to, have the power to influence and to receive compliments. So that is the second of the first 4 auspicious worldly Dhammas in the total of 8 worldly Dhammas, 4 auspicious and 4 inauspicious. And so the third worldly Dhamma is compliment, to receive compliments, to become famous, people to be heard, and to receive merit and honor or recognition from others or from the world. And the fourth auspicious worldly Dhamma is to be healthy and have a very lot of comfort and happiness, and to be feel good about things and to have a happy life and lots of entertainment, things to entertain you instead of boring. And that is the fourth auspicious worldly Dhamma which all humans experience. And now moving on to the second group of 4 worldly Dhammas, which are the kind of inauspicious worldly Dhammas which humans experience and are not happy about, is 1, see a lab, to be unlucky, or to lose luck, to have lose the fortune which you once had and see it disappear. And the second is Yod, is to lose the status of elevated status in profession or in social life which one had, and the power and influence which one had, for it to be taken away. The third one of the 4 inauspicious Dhammas is Ninta, to be gossiped about or to be spoken badly of, complained about, and that people look down on you and talking bad about you, and so to be badly gossiped about and to lose your reputation through that. The fourth of these inauspicious, undesirable worldly Dhammas is Doktok, which means to not be healthy or not have a comfortable physicality, comfortable life or health or body, and to experience kind of torture and unhappiness, both physically or emotionally or mentally. So to experience great discomfort, be it bodily, mentally or emotionally. One should notice that the second group of 4, the inauspicious worldly Dhammas, are actually the opposite, the loss of the first 4 auspicious worldly Dhammas. So they are 4 split into 2, making 8. So to luck or the lack of it, status or the lack of it, honor and fame or the lack of it, or disrepute, repute or disrepute, and happiness and health or the lack of it. So these are the 8 worldly Dhammas which we can experience and this is also a corresponding meaning of the 8 points of the star amulet of Luang Pina. All the amulets of Luang Pina, especially and including the Hnun, Duang, Mahalab, lucky star, were made from watu Aathan, sorcerous ingredients, mixed with sacred herbs, all of which Luang Pina collected in the forests and jungles in the many years he travelled as a forest wandering solitary monk in the jungles, and used these substances to mix up into muansan, sacred powders, to make his amulets and talismans, which became so famous through his many soldier, doctor, and police devotees who took his amulets and made great experience with them, be it in the line of fire to protect themselves with, or to increase their success in their profession, or their wealth and status and popularity. And so his amulets became greatly famous for protection, cloud evasion, chok lab, wealth increase, and nati gangan, to promotion in the profession, and metta mahaniyom, for mercy charm, to increase popularity, and gansaniyat janrai, to keep away dark forces, black magic, and unlucky, inauspicious alignments, kunsai, and black magic and sorcery, which means krop jakawan, which means all around the universe, meaning covers all angles, which is also, of course, a meaning of the many rays in all directions spreading out from the star amulet of Luang Pina. This is Ajahn Spencer, hoping that this talk has increased your understanding of Luang Pina, his patipata, his practice in his trajectory as a monk, and of the very deep, complex meaning of his very famous lucky star amulet. This is Ajahn Spencer, signing off.